All right, everyone. Well, today is Wednesday morning, and I'm locking up, finally, a green day. My first green day of the week. Today was so much different from Monday and Tuesday. Almost night and day. So today, I actually hit my daily goal. I broke it by about $300, and then I gave back about $800 off the top. My daily goal is $5,000. I'm finishing the day at $4,502.64. You can see the P&L right there. And the stock that we're going to talk about first and foremost is REBN, up 102% on news. Reborn Coffee, that was my biggest winner, as you can see right here at 2,700. But it was not the only stock I traded. I actually traded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stocks. And unlike Monday, where I was red on 4 out of 4, today I'm green on 4 out of 5. So what was so different between Monday and today? On Monday, we didn't have any strong stocks with breaking news pre-market. Pre-market was more or less dead. If you recall, the one stock I traded pre-market was BENF, which was continuation from Friday. And the only reason I traded it was because there was literally nothing else that looked good. And I got green on it, but then I went back in for the next trade and I went to down $2,000. And to be honest, I probably shouldn't have been even trading a continuation setup because the problem is they're not obvious. So each day when I sit down, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a stock that is going to be the most obvious stock in the entire market that everyone is going to be looking at and you can't possibly miss it. This is going to be the stock that, you know, Robinhood and all these other brokers are emailing out saying, hey, we've got a stock up X 100% today, 114% REBN. And they want people to look at it. They want people to trade it. They get payment for order flow. The more you trade, the more money they make. So these are the types of stocks that people are going to be focusing on and that people are going to be actively trading. Obvious. Leading percentage gainer with enough volume to get in and out easily. This met all of those criteria today, REBN. But on Monday, we didn't actually have anything that met those criteria. And the right thing to do on those days is to stay disciplined and not trade anything until something becomes obvious. But that's not what I did. I ended up trading this, continuation setup, going into the red. And then I just started sort of chasing different stocks that were popping up at the open. And although there were a couple that made nice moves, it just ended up that none of them were super clean. And the one that was the cleanest of all of them, I didn't trade well because at that point I had drawn too far into the red and I was sort of off my game mentally. And I was just buying with too much size and then getting kind of like nervous and jumping out and then getting back in, jumping out. And it just wasn't calm, cool, and collected. So I ended up being red on Monday. And then we come in on Tuesday and it's the same thing. There's no good gappers. So yesterday morning, Tuesday, we didn't have any stocks that were really strong. The gap scanner was pretty awful. But at about 9:45, we had GSUN that started to squeeze up. Now, I don't usually like breaking the ice with my first trade at 9:45, 10 a.m. because usually I consider that to be kind of when my window of opportunity is ending. Nonetheless, I did trade it. And I had like 4 trades on it and was kind of skittish on them. I had one good entry and got out with a small profit because I was nervous. And then I got back in and then I got back out again, small profit. And then I got back in too high and stopped out with not even a big loss, but it gave back the 2 small profits I had made and I went red on the day. And the second I flipped from green on the day to red on the day, I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm walking away. I'm not overstaying my welcome. And that was the right decision. Now, REBN, while we're on the subject, this one this morning had breaking news at 8:30. And that was the beginning of me breaking the ice and getting a nice cushion on it. And I traded it pretty much as soon as the news came out. Now, let's see what this does here. So the reason I was hesitant to even consider taking this trade right there. See that jackknife? This is what's really, really difficult in this market. We're getting these moves, but then once it gets crowded, it's like pop and then flush back down. Now, if it holds this level, which is the low of about 375, then you've got something to work with. So now your stop would be the low of that pullback. But we've had a couple jackknifes on it already. There was one right here, and there was a kind of nasty rejection up in this area and right here. So it's getting to a point where I feel like my risk on any one of these trades is outweighing the profit potential. I mean, let's just be real. That had like a 70-cent range in about 10 seconds. It's just hard to manage risk on that, even with small size. Now, I hope it goes higher. The daily chart looks fine. It's open. No real nearby resistance because we're just breaking over the 200 moving average. So that kind of negates the little areas that we have back here. So anyway, so REBN has news, closes master license agreement for China. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how exciting that news is, but nonetheless, that was the headline. And right at 8:30, it pops up on my scanners. I see it popping up, and I actually got in this at about $1.90. $1.90 was my first entry. Now, I didn't buy big size, but I was in at about $1.90 pretty much right away as soon as it was hitting the scanner. So it squeezed up to 230, 240. I took my profit. It pulls back. And then from that point forward, I'm just getting back in, getting back out. But I am trading it with relatively small size because the market has been cold these last 2 days. And I didn't want to overstay my welcome, make a big mistake. So I was like, I'm just going to go, you know, slow and steady. So anyways, so it ends up pushing higher here up to 290, and then it breaks $3. And look at this topping tail candle. It punches to 330 and then flushes back down. So again, those are tough candles. Little rejection here. We go a little bit further forward. And in this area, you know, now it's kind of like grinding. It's very thickly traded. There's big stacks of buyers, big stacks of sellers. And we had a couple of these big red candles through here. So you see like this candle, this one, this one, this one. This is what should give you pause because you're seeing some topping tails and you're seeing some of these candles where it's just dumping. So because of that, I just felt like I knew it wouldn't make sense to keep trading it. It would just be too risky. So while I'm happy for those of you that did continue to trade through this area and made some money, it's all about risk tolerance. And for me right now, there's a bit of capital preservation. I've got $4,500 of real money in my pocket, which after 2 consecutive red days is pretty good. I did cross over 5,000 this morning before I had this loss on IVP, the only stock I'm red on today. So what went wrong with IVP? It had the news of the reverse split that came out this morning, and it pops from 360 up to 450, up to 475, and hits a high of 493. And as it was squeezing up right here, I was like, okay, here we go. We got something moving quickly, right price range, low float. This all looks good. So I got in at 450 and added at 485 or something like that. Hit a high of 490 and then flushes all the way down to 4 down here. And so when it flushed down there, I got stopped out and lost $1,500. Thankfully, it was with small size. It wasn't with like 10,000 shares, but you know, that was my biggest loss. Now, my first trade on the day was SLNH. This is how I broke the ice today, and I got myself up $1,400 on SLNH. Breaking news at 8 a.m., top of the hour. And this one, again, hesitant, started with small size, but the thing goes all the way up to 380. So if we look at this on the 1-minute chart, this is the beginning of the move. So we have our first pop right here. We pull back, nice dip, and then this squeeze up here all the way to this high. So just really clean price action. The only thing that's a bummer is that we only got one pullback. We didn't get a second pullback and a move higher. I did a dip down here off of VWAP, hoping it would, but it ended up just going sideways, got out of that flat. So very first trade of the day, if I go back here, let's see, SLNH bought at $3.14. That was my first entry. So that was right here during this candle as it was squeezing up with a stop at 3. I took some profit, and I only bought 500 shares. I took profit at 340 and 350 before it kind of stalled out. Then it pulls back, and I got back in at 345, which was right here for the breakthrough 350. And we got a nice extension there up to 380 where I took my profit. So $1,400 on that. And I was like, all right, breaking the ice. Nice work. TIVC, this one, What was the news on this one? This was at 9 a.m. So REBN was the one that was at 8:30. So we had news now at 8:30 on REBN. And as I said on this one, now I already had a cushion on the day. So I jumped in it pretty quickly. We got this squeeze here, little pullback, continues higher. And then we got this topping tail. And after that, I kind of left it alone. Had a couple small trades on it, but nothing big because that sort of just, to me, didn't seem great. Then we had TIVC news at 9 a.m. top of the hour. And on this one, I made $1,400. Now, here, in this case, I was sort of in the mindset of, all right, we just had news on 2 other stocks, top and bottom of the hour, that worked pretty nicely. So when this started to pop up and pull away, at first I was like, I don't know if it's going to work. But once it started to build some strength and volume increased, I was like, okay, I'm going to jump in it. So jumped in, we got the squeeze up to 180, 190, $2, all the way up to 240, 250, 260. So again, small size. I'm only up $1,500 on it, but nonetheless, it's a green trade. Now this one ended up pulling back, didn't hold its levels, so came back down. A little bit of a bummer that it wasn't able to hold up, but that's okay. So it was right after that that I took the trade on IVP, because I was like, okay, things are moving quick. And here's another stock popping up, and this one's sort of a better price range. And that's why I thought it was going to work well, but ended up, not being the case. So, at the end of the day, I'm walking away with $2,500. Sorry, $2,500. What am I saying? $4,500. There we go. That's even better. $1,500, $2,500, $4,500. So $1,500 on TIVC, $4,500 on the day. That's a great day. I can't complain. Now, big picture is this would be a really nice day if it wasn't in the shadow of having lost 9,000 on Monday and then another 1,600 on Tuesday. So I'm down 10,600 on the week, 10,500 roughly. And this, is going to get me back 40 something percent of that. Okay, that's good. But I shouldn't look at it that way because the fact is 3 days like this, I'll make back all of it. 10 days like this, I'm up $45,000. So what I need to continue to do is focus on the process, focus on taking A quality setups like we had today. And on days like yesterday, I walked away at the right time. Days like Monday, I need to be more careful. Monday was a mistake. I broke my rules. I overtraded. I fell into the spiral, fell into the trap. And I was actually thinking about this. I was doing, I do my meditation, which I did for the whole month of April, and I really think helped me in April. And, I had a great month of April. Now, it's a bummer that the first week of May, I end up having a setback, but I'm still keeping up with my meditation, and I'm still focusing on discipline. And I kind of thought about how sometimes when you're meditating, your mind will start to wander, and then you bring it back. And it's just like so human and natural for that to happen. And I kind of thought about, when you bring it back, you just bring it back and then you stay with it. And then it'll wander off again before you even realize, and then you bring it back. And I sort of thought about that loss on Monday being sort of similar. I was so solid for that nice stretch. And then I kind of wandered on Monday, got off track, but just calmly bringing it back. And I'm not wanting to carry too much disappointment or frustration or have all of my work today, be just defined by what happened on Monday. You know what I mean? Like, just let it be there in the past. And now today is its own day standalone. Did I do a good job today? And if I wander a little bit, just bring it back. So that quick recovery, I'm glad that I didn't go on a multi-day spiral. Because if we look back at the month of March, in March, that's what ended up happening. So March, I went on a multi-day spiral. Let's see. I'm going to pull up my metrics for you here. And again, not to rehash, but just to put it out there. So in March, this day was a spiral day, right? So, red to green, back to red, and then traded through the afternoon and just dug the hole deeper and deeper and deeper, right? So this area here is like desperation trading. I'm right in here. I'm trying to get back to green, and then I go deeper red. And now I'm over trading, trying, taking more risk, and then boom. And then that's where I capitulated, and I was like, all right, enough's enough. right? I'm done. Now, while we're here, I'm going to look at something else. And while we do that, I'll import my trades from Monday and Tuesday so we can kind of compare. So that was Monday, March 11th. And then I came right in on Tuesday and look what I did. Boom. Just like FOMO, big share size, being super aggressive, swinging for the fences. It was a Hail Mary pass. I was going big. And, you know, that was definitely a mistake. So I ended up being basically on a 2-day spiral, and then kind of came back out of that and tried to stay focused on, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then, you know, got myself in a pretty good spot. And then again, had 2 kind of back-to-back red days. So this whole period, I was having a hard time really getting recentered. I was still dealing with just being a little bit, just a little bit like off my focus. So let's see. So I go IRA, add, and then I'll just drag this here. Okay, there we go. All right, so we'll let this import for a second. So it'll refresh on its own. All right, so we'll go over to the reports tab, right? So this is what my 60-day looks like. You know, so that was Monday and that was Tuesday. So let's get dialed in on looking at Monday in detail. So see what happened here. Green, fine day, and then flip to red. And that's where I, you know, in hindsight, should have walked away right there. Got another trade, was down 4,000, and it actually doesn't show, but it was 2 trades that put me to down 6. And again, should have walked away. Sat for a little while, and then went a little deeper, and then went a little deeper, and finally just gave up. Now, the only thing I'll say that's better about this drawdown is that these 2 steps down could have easily gone like this in the past. Usually that's what happens, because I'm really struggling, I'm really pushing, and then, you know, I go red. Yesterday, you know, not as bad. I mean, a bummer, right? Would have been nice to just continue making progress, but this was the 100% right place to walk away. And today is going to look more or less, I'm not going to be able to import it until tomorrow, but today more or less will just look like, you know, I was up first 500, and then 1,000, then 1,500, and then 2,500, 3,500, 4,500, 5,300, back to 3,800, and then back up to 4,500. So, you know, gave back 30% on this drop on IVP, but, you know, the market was hot. Sort of all indicators this morning were to push a little harder, and that's why I'm up this much, even in net. So still a good day. And in terms of daily green average, you know, having a day where I'm going to be up about 4,500 here today, that's good. That's a good bounce back. You know, now it's just like a couple more days like that, maybe one day like that. And, you know, next thing you know, I'm back, equity curves, you know, back up here, etc. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just got to keep my head down, stay focused, and did a pretty good job of that today. Did a good job of that yesterday. So now I've got 2 days of I now have a new streak that's 2 days long of discipline. And my last streak was 27 days. The streak before that was only 7 days. So to look at that in calendar view, I only had 7 days here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 before a spiral. And then I put in from March there all the way through till right here. That's not about consecutive green days. It's okay to have losses, because look at these losses. They're tiny. These are fine red days. There's nothing wrong with that. Totally okay. Right? It was just the days where I break my rules. 5,000 is my max loss. So if I go below that, you know, and then I keep trading, that's when we've got a problem. And that's what happened on Monday. So anyways, I had a nice stretch there of about 27 days. In that time, looks like, oh no, sorry. Yeah, actually, I guess that was, yeah. So 27 days. So let's see. right. So it was from, I guess this low here, I was at $150,000, got myself up to about 200,000. So it was up 50,000 in 27 days. So averaging a little over 2,000 a day. And then gave back about 25% of it. It's a little more than I'd like, if I'm going to be honest, but you know, I can live with it. We can actually look at the calendar here. So March, I think that's right. So March 11th, what was it this day? Yeah. Okay. So, right. So, yeah, 35. Well, right, because I got to take that out. So if we went just to here during the streak, I was at 46,000 in profit, $1,700 daily goal, a daily average, and average profit loss ratio 1-to-1. Accuracy kind of low at 64%. That's lower than average. But you know, it was definitely a colder market, right? It just was bad timing that I had that loss, and then we went into the month of April, which is the worst month the S&P has had in 6 months. So that's unfortunate. So I just ended up taking a loss going right into a colder market, and then the progress was slower. So anyways, that's and that's something I'm dealing with a little bit here today as well. Just the fact that I took a big loss on Monday, and then Tuesday the market was slow. And today it's better, but it's not incredible. So just got to be patient, follow the rules, stay disciplined, and that's the name of the game. So anyways, I hope you find this helpful. If you do, I hope you hit that thumbs up. I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I will be back at it first thing tomorrow morning, live streaming for our Warrior members. And I'll upload my recap tomorrow. Hopefully we have another day tomorrow where we've got some action on the gap scanners, because that gets us off to a good start. Then I'm able to build a cushion, and some of these days we'll end up having something in the open that continues even higher. Today, REBN was just a little choppy. So reminder as always, trading is risky. My results are not typical. So if you're a beginner trader, manage your risk, take it slow. There's no guarantee you'll find success with you trading your own, you'll learn from me. So take it slow, use a simulator, and I'll see you guys back here first thing tomorrow morning.